The arrival of judgment, the warning. Nobody music believed, supreme. Chancellor Corbin stood before the massive observation window of the Valdrin Command Station, his 4 eyes watched the stars with growing unease. Behind him, the Emergency Council had gathered in chaos, voices echoed through the chamber, each member shouting over the others. The Valdrin hegemony had ruled 847 star systems for over 2,000 years. Their military controlled 15,000 warships. Their economy was built on the labor of conquered species. They had never known defeat. They had never known fear until today. Silence. Corin commanded, his voice cut through the noise like a blade. The council fell quiet. Admiral Tesh report. Admiral Tesh stepped forward. His scales were darker than usual, a sign of stress among his kind. He activated the holographic display at the center of the room. Single dot appeared, moving through space toward their territory. The object entered our sensor range 6 hours ago. Tesh explained, it is a warship, human design. It is traveling alone at standard speed. No support vessels, no supply convoy, no fleet following behind, just one ship. Council member Byron laughed nervously. One ship. Surely this is a joke. The humans cannot be so foolish. The humans are not foolish, Corin said quietly. That is what terrifies me. He gestured to Tesh. Show them the files. The admiral pulled up classified documents, records from intelligence networks across the galaxy. Reports that had been buried, ignored, dismissed as exaggeration. Now they filled the holographic display with terrible truth. 80 years ago, the Krellian Dominion attacked the human mining colony. Tesh began. They killed 3,000 colonists. They took the rare minerals. The Krellians controlled 600 worlds and had a fleet of 8,000 ships. He paused. The humans sent 12 warships. Within 5 years, the Krellian Dominion no longer existed. Every military installation was destroyed. Every fleet was scattered. The Krellian home world was left intact but powerless. Today, the Krellians are a broken people, begging other empires for protection. The council chamber grew very still. 40 years ago, Tesh continued, this collective thought they could use biological weapons against human colonies. They released a plague that killed 2 million humans across 7 worlds. His voice became cold. Humans did not send armies. They did not send fleets. They sent 3 ships. Thexians had 900 planets. Every single one was visited. The humans destroyed only the facilities that created the plague and the leaders who ordered its use. But the message was clear. The collective dissolved within a decade. Their empire fell apart from fear. Enough, Viron interrupted. These are stories, propaganda. The humans cannot be that powerful. Corbin turned to face the council. 20 years ago, the Zephin Empire captured a human diplomatic vessel. They held the crew hostage. They demanded technology and resources. The Zephins thought the humans would negotiate. He leaned forward. The humans sent one ship, just one. It appeared in orbit above the Zephin capital. It broadcast a simple message: release them. Now the Zephins laughed. They had 12,000 warships protecting their home world. The chamber was silent except for the hum of the station's engines. That single human ship destroyed all 12,000 warships in 4 hours. Corin said it never fired on the planet. It never harmed a single civilian. It only destroyed Military targets, the Zephan Empire. Surrendered, they released the hostages. Today, they pay tribute to humanity. Every year, not because the humans demand it, but because they are too afraid to stop. Why are you telling us this? Asked Council Member Drex. We have never attacked humanity. We have never taken their people. Corbin's expression darkened. That is not entirely true. He activated another file, shipping records, transaction logs, prison manifests. 3 years ago, a private corporation called Nexar Industries discovered a small human settlement on the edge of explored space. Settlement had 2,000 colonists. No military protection, no weapons, just families trying to build a new life. His voice filled with barely controlled anger. Nexar Industries captured them. All of them. They sold them across our empire as laborers. The humans were taken to mines, factories, agricultural worlds. They were scattered across 200 of our systems. The realization hit the council like a physical blow. The humans. No, Corin said, they have known for 8 months. They sent messages. They offered to negotiate. They asked for the return of their people. Our government ignored those messages. Some ministers thought the humans were bluffing. Others thought we were too powerful to challenge. He pointed at the dot on the display. That is their answer. They are done talking. They are done asking. Now they are coming to take their people back. Then we give them back. Viron shouted. We return every human. We punish Nexar Industries. We apologize and pay compensation. It is too late for that. Admiral Tesh said, the humans are not coming to negotiate. When they send a single warship, it means something specific. It is a message to the entire galaxy. What message? Drex demanded. Corin answered, the message is we do not need an army to destroy you. We do not need a fleet. One ship is enough. Dutch our people and we will come. We will not stop. We will not compromise. We will have justice no matter the cost. The council erupted again. Some demanded they prepare for war. Others insisted on immediate surrender. A few suggested trying to hide the human captives or move them beyond reach. Corin raised his hand for silence. Listen to me carefully. We cannot hide from this. We cannot fight this. The human warship will arrive at our border in 3 days. I am ordering the immediate mobilization of our fleet, not to attack but to show strength. Perhaps the humans will reconsider when they see our numbers. You said we cannot fight them. Viron protested. We cannot. Corin agreed, but we are the Voldran hegemony. We have ruled for 2 millennia. We must at least try to appear strong. Perhaps it will buy us time to negotiate. Admiral Tesh looked doubtful but said nothing. He had read the reports. He had studied every human conflict in recorded history. He knew the truth that Corin would not admit. When humanity sent a single warship, it was not a challenge. It was not a test of strength. It was an execution notice. The trial had already happened. The verdict had already been decided. Now came only the sentence. Fleet that gathered. 3 days passed in frantic preparation. The Voldran hegemony assembled the largest military force in its history. 5,000 warships gathered at the border zone. Each vessel was massive, built for conquest and dominance. Together they represented enough firepower to crack planets and boil atmospheres. Corvin stood on the bridge of his command dreadnought, the Eternal Dominion, Around him, officers worked at their stations with nervous efficiency. Every screen showed tactical displays. Every sensor was focused on the point where the human ship would emerge from faster than light travel. All ships report ready, Admiral Tesh announced. We have established a defensive sphere 10,000 km in diameter. The human vessel will emerge directly in the center. It will be surrounded on all sides. Good, Corin said, though his voice lacked confidence. Open a communication channel, all frequencies, all languages, channel open. Supreme Chancellor Corvin spoke clearly. Human vessel, this is Supreme Chancellor Corvin of the Valdran hegemony. We wish to discuss the situation peacefully. We are prepared to return your people. We ask only for time to locate them and arrange transportation. There is no need for conflict. Silence answered him. The seconds stretched into minutes. Perhaps they have not arrived yet, suggested an officer. They are here, Tesh said quietly. Look, the sensors flickered. Space itself seemed to ripple. Then, without warning or dramatic appearance, a ship materialized at the exact center of their defensive formation. The human warship was smaller than Corin had expected, perhaps 1,500 m long, narrow and angular. Its hull was deep gray, almost black, with no decorations or markings visible. It had no running lights, no glowing engines, no signs of life at all. It simply existed there as if it had always been there, waiting for them to notice. Scan it, Corin ordered. Scanning. The sensor officer worked frantically at his console. Then he stopped. His expression turned confused. Sir, I cannot get detailed readings. Something is interfering with our sensors. I can see the ship's exterior, but I cannot penetrate the hull. I cannot determine crew size, weapon systems, power output, anything. That is impossible, Tesh said. Our sensors can scan through solid rock. I know, Admiral, but the readings simply stop at the hull. It is as if the ship does not want to be seen. Corvin stared at the dark vessel floating silently among his fleet. 5,000 warships surrounded it, enough firepower to destroy small moons. Yet somehow this single small ship made him feel exposed and vulnerable. Message appeared on the communication screen. Text only. Simple words in perfect Valdran language. You have taken our people. Return them within 12 hours. This is your only warning. 12 hours, not a negotiation, not a discussion, an ultimatum. Corin made his decision. He had built his career on strength and certainty. He had commanded fleets and conquered worlds. He would not be intimidated by one ship, regardless of its reputation. All vessels he commanded target the human warship. Fire on my mark, sir, Tesh protested. Perhaps we should fire, Corin shouted. 5,000 warships opened fire simultaneously. The space around the human vessel became pure light, energy. Beams converged from every direction. Missiles streamed inward by the thousands. Plasma cannons discharged their full power. The combined assault carried enough destructive force to vaporize an asteroid belt. The attack lasted 30 seconds. When the light faded and the sensors cleared, every officer on every bridge stared at their displays in disbelief. The human warship hung exactly where it had been. It had not moved. It had not activated shields. It had not attempted to dodge or evade. Hull showed no damage, not a scratch, not a burn mark, nothing. That cannot be, Corin whispered. Then the human ship Moved, it did not turn or accelerate. Dramatically, it simply began gliding. Forward, smooth and inevitable, like a blade sliding into flesh, it moved. Toward Corin's command ship with terrible purpose. All ships fire again. Corvin screamed, fire everything. Fleet unleashed another barrage, then another. They poured destruction into the approaching vessel for 10 full minutes without pause. The energy output was beyond measurement. Any normal ship would have been atomized in the first second. The human warship continued its approach untouched and unstoppable. Then it fired back, not with massive weapons or overwhelming force. A single beam lanced out from its forward section. It touched one Vuldran warship. Just touched it. The warship simply stopped existing. It did not explode. It did not burn. One moment it was there. The next moment there was only empty space where it had been. The human ship fired again. Another Vuldran warship vanished, then another. Each strike was precise, economical, perfect. No wasted energy, no excess destruction, just clean, absolute removal. Panic spread through the fleet like fire through dry grass. Ships broke formation. Some tried to flee, others fired wildly. Discipline that had taken centuries to build collapsed in minutes. The human warship stopped firing. It hung there among the chaos it had created, silent and patient. Then another message appeared on Corvin's screen. You have 11 hours and 53 minutes. Return our people, or we will take them ourselves. Choose wisely. Corin looked at the carnage around him. 3 ships gone, 5,000 ships in terror, and the human vessel sat calmly in the middle of it all, waiting for his answer. He finally understood what all those other empires had learned too late. The humans did not send one ship because they were arrogant. They sent one ship because one ship was all they would ever need. Vuldran hegemony's 2,000-year reign of dominance had just ended. They simply did not know it yet. The price of arrogance, the unraveling truth, supreme. Chancellor Corin sat in his command chair, his 4 eyes fixed on the motionless human warship around him. His bridge crew worked in terrified silence. The fleet that had been so perfectly organized now drifted disarray. 3 ships were simply gone, erased from existence as if they had never been. Contact all system governors, Corvin said, his voice hollow. Find every human captive. I want transport ships ready within the hour. We will return them all. Admiral Tesh worked at his console, sending urgent messages across the Empire. Minutes passed. Then his expression changed from concentration to confusion, then to horror. Supreme Chancellor, Tesh said slowly, we have a problem. What now? Corin demanded. The governors are responding. They are locating the humans, but sir, the numbers do not match. Nexar Industries reported capturing 2,000 colonists. The governors have found over 8,000 humans scattered across our systems. The bridge fell silent. Corbin felt his blood turn cold. What are you saying? Tesh pulled up records on the main display. Shipping manifests, prison logs, purchase orders. Nexar Industries did not just capture one settlement. They have been hunting human colonies for 5 years. Small outposts, survey teams, research stations, any humans they could find without military protection. They took them all and sold them throughout our empire. Corin stared at the evidence. His government had not known. The council had not approved it, but that would not matter to the humans. The Captives had been taken from Valdrin. Space sold in Vuldrin markets held in Valdrin facilities. The responsibility was theirs. How many have died? Corbin asked quietly. Tesh checked the records. His silence was answer enough. Tell me. Corin insisted. 743. Mining accidents, equipment failures. Some simply worked to death. The records list them as acceptable losses. Corvin closed his eyes. Acceptable losses. The phrase that had been used casually in economic reports. Now each number represented a human life. Each death was a reason for the ship floating outside to reduce his empire to dust. A new message appeared on the communication screen. This time it was not text, was a voice, deep, calm, and absolutely certain. I am Captain Sarah Chin of the Earth Alliance warship. Silent verdict. You have 11 hours remaining. However, I have reviewed your transportation capabilities. It will take you 3 days to gather all captives and prepare proper medical care for transport. I am not unreasonable. Corin felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps they would negotiate after all. You have 3 days to gather our people, Captain Chin continued. During that time, my ship will begin recovering them ourselves. We will visit each facility that holds humans. You will not interfere. You will not resist any attempt to hide captives or move them beyond our reach will result in immediate consequences. Am I understood? Yes, Corin said quickly. Completely understood. We will cooperate fully. Good. One more thing, Chancellor. During our investigation, we discovered that 743 of our people died while in your custody. For each death, one of your facilities will be destroyed. Not civilian centers, not cities, only the facilities directly responsible and the corporate headquarters of Nexar Industries. We do not punish the innocent for the crimes of the guilty, but we will have justice. Communication ended. Corin sat back. His chair. 743 facilities destroyed. It was better than total annihilation, but the economic damage would be catastrophic. More importantly, the message would echo across the galaxy. The Valdrin hegemony, mighty rulers of nearly 1,000 systems, had been brought to heel by one ship. Admiral, order all forces to stand down. Corin commanded. Full cooperation with the human vessel. Any commander who interferes will be executed personally. Yes, Supreme Chancellor. The human warship began to move. It glided away from the fleet with that same terrible smoothness. It set course for the nearest system that held human captives. The liberation, the mining world of Krav X7 was a harsh place. Then, atmosphere, toxic dust, deep tunnels, where prisoners dug for rare minerals. That powered Valdrin technology. 320 human captives worked there along with thousands of other species. The facility overseer, a Valdrin named Torque, sat in his comfortable office watching the security monitors. The work proceeded normally. The humans were efficient laborers, he had to admit, strong, resilient, and clever with machinery. It was a shame they belonged to such a dangerous species. The profit they generated was excellent. His communication panel beeped. A message from the planetary governor marked urgent. All facilities holding human captives comply immediately with incoming Earth vessel. Do not resist. Do not interfere. Full cooperation required. By order of Supreme Chancellor Corin. Torque read it 3 times. Then he looked at his security monitors. In the Orbital display, a dark shape appeared. The human warship descended through the atmosphere without any visible propulsion. It simply fell like a stone, completely controlled until it hovered directly above the mining facility. Torque activated the facility-wide communication system. All security personnel stand down. Do not engage the approaching vessel. This is a direct order. The human ship settled onto the landing field. It was much larger up close and darker. The hull seemed to absorb light. No landing gear extended. The vessel simply rested on the ground, as if gravity held no meaning for it. Section of the hull opened. Figures emerged, humans in dark armor moving. With military precision, they carried weapons but did not point them at anyone. Their leader, a woman with sharp eyes and gray streaks in her hair, approached the facility entrance. Torque met them there personally. I am Overseer Torque. I have been ordered to cooperate fully. Captain Sarah Chin, the woman, said, you have 320 of our people here. Where are they? In the lower tunnels. I will escort you personally. That will not be necessary. My people know where they are. Torque realized the humans had already scanned the entire facility. They knew exactly where every captive was held, probably down to the individual tunnel. The human soldiers moved through the facility like water flowing downhill. Guards stepped aside. Workers stopped and stared. Within minutes, the humans had reached the lower tunnels. Torque followed at a distance. He watched as Captain Chin entered the main mining chamber. 320 humans looked up from their work. They were thin, dirty, exhausted. Many showed signs of injury. All wore the shock collars that prevented escape. Chin stood at the entrance and spoke clearly. I am Captain Sarah Chin of the Earth Alliance. We have come to take you home. The war is over. You are free for a long moment. Nobody moved. Then a young man at the front dropped his mining tool. You are real. We thought you would never find us. We always find our people, Shin said. Always. The chamber erupted. Humans embraced each other. Some cried, others simply stood in stunned silence. The human soldiers moved efficiently through the group, removing shock collars with specialized tools, distributing medical supplies, offering water and food. Chin turned to Torque. Your medical records show that 17 humans died in this facility. Equipment failures and cave collapses. Is that correct? Torque felt his throat tighten. Yes, it was unfortunate, but mining is dangerous work. Mining with proper safety equipment is dangerous work. Chin corrected. You gave our people broken tools and inadequate protection because maintaining safety standards would reduce profit margins by 3%. I read your reports. She looked at him with eyes that held no anger, only cold calculation. This facility will be destroyed when we leave. You have 1 hour to evacuate all personnel. Only personnel. Leave everything else. But this facility represents billions in investment. Torque protested. 17 lives. Shin said quietly. 17 of my people died here because you valued profit over their lives. This is the price. You have 59 minutes now. Torque ran. He ordered immediate evacuation. Workers and guards fled the facility, taking only what they could carry. The humans gathered there, freed people, and returned to their ship. When the last person was aboard, the silent verdict rose into the air. Single beam lanced down from the ship. The mining facility simply ceased to exist. Not an explosion, not fire, just Nothing, the valuable equipment, the processed minerals, the infrastructure. Worth billions, all gone in an instant. The warship ascended back into orbit. Torque watched from a safe distance. He understood now, the humans were not acting from rage or vengeance. This was calculated justice, precise, proportional, terrifying. The reckoning spreads across the Voldran hegemony. The same scene repeated, the silent verdict appeared at each facility. Holding humans, each time Captain Chin gave the same ultimatum: evacuate all personnel, leave everything else. Then the facility would vanish. The humans moved with mechanical efficiency. No wasted time, no unnecessary destruction. They targeted only the specific facilities where their people had been held and where deaths had occurred. True to their word, they touched nothing else, but the economic impact was devastating. Mining operations that supplied rare minerals, manufacturing plants that produced critical components, agricultural processing centers that fed entire worlds, all destroyed, not because the humans wanted to the Valdran economy, but because these were the exact locations where their people had suffered and died. On the fifth day, the silent verdict arrived at the Nexar Industries headquarters. The massive station orbited a gas giant, home to 15,000 corporate employees and their families. The station represented the heart of one of the hegemony's largest corporations. Chancellor Korin watched the footage. From his command ship, he had sent urgent messages to Nexar leadership. Evacuate everyone, take the families to safety, leave the station. The corporate executives refused. They claimed the humans would not dare destroy such a valuable target. They believed their wealth and influence would protect them. They were wrong. Captain Shin broadcast on all frequencies. Nexar Industries headquarters, you have 2 hours to evacuate all personnel. This includes families, children, and non-essential staff. We have confirmed that 412 humans died as direct result of Nexar operations. This station will be destroyed. Evacuate now. The executives called it a bluff. They sent messages to Korin demanding protection. They threatened political consequences. They activated the station's defensive weapons. 1 hour and 55 minutes later, evacuation pods began launching. Frantically, the executives had finally understood the humans were not bluffing. They were never bluffing. When the last pod cleared the danger zone, the silent verdict fired. The massive station, worth more than some entire planetary economies, simply disappeared. No debris field, no wreckage floating in space, just empty orbit where a monument to corporate greed had stood. Message delivered. On the 7th day, every human captive had been recovered. 8,057 people stood aboard transport vessels provided by the Valdran government. They received medical care, clean clothes, good food, and the promise of passage home. Captain Chin sent one final message to Chancellor Corvin: all our people have been recovered. 743 facilities have been destroyed as payment for the lives lost. We consider this matter settled. Corvin appeared on screen, older and more tired than he had been a week ago. Captain Chin, the Valdran hegemony wishes to offer formal apology and compensation. We did not know the extent of Nexar's operations. We failed to protect those in our territory. We understand if you wish to impose further penalties. Chin was silent for a moment. Chancellor, I have studied your government. You did not order these kidnappings. Your council did not authorize the slave trade, but you allowed a culture where such things could happen, where corporations valued profit over lives, where the suffering of the weak was considered acceptable as long as it benefited the strong. She leaned forward. We do not want compensation. We do not want apologies. We want you to change. The galaxy is watching. Every empire, every government, every corporation has seen what happened here. They know we came with one ship. They know we recovered our people and extracted justice. They know we could have destroyed everything but chose restraint. What do you want from us? Corbin asked. Never forget this. Chin said, never forget that one ship was enough. Never forget that when you take human lives, we will come. We will always come, not with anger, not with hatred, but with absolute certainty. We will have our people back, and we will have justice. Nothing will stop us, not your fleets, not your economic power, not your ancient empires, nothing. She stood. The Valdran hegemony has learned this lesson. Make sure the galaxy learns it too. Humanity does not seek conquest. We do not want your territory. We do not want to rule over others. But if you touch our people, we will respond proportionally, precisely, inevitably. I understand, Corin said quietly. I hope you do. The silent verdict is departing. Now we will escort our people home. I suggest you use this time to reform your systems, root out the corporations that profit from suffering, change the culture that allowed this to happen. Because if we have to return, it will not be with one ship. The communication ended. The silent verdict rose from Valdran space, the transport vessels following in its wake, the dark warship that had brought an empire to its knees departed as quietly as it had arrived. Chancellor Corvin stood before his council once more. They looked at him with haunted eyes. The mighty Valdran hegemony, rulers of nearly 1,000 systems, had been humbled completely. Issue the following orders, Corvin said. All slave operations are immediately illegal. Any corporation found trafficking in sentient beings will be dissolved and its leadership executed. We will establish proper labor standards, safety regulations, and protection for all workers regardless of species. The economic impact will be severe. Viron protested weakly. Alternative is extinction, Corin replied. We got off lightly. The humans could have destroyed us completely. Instead, they showed restraint. They gave us a chance to change. We will not waste that chance. He looked at the empty space where the human ship had been. Send a message to all systems under our control. The age of conquest and exploitation is over. A new age begins now. We will build an empire worthy of respect, not one sustained by fear and suffering, because if we do not, the humans will return, and next time they will bring more than one ship. The legend grows. News of the Valdran incident spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. Every empire heard the story. Every government analyzed the recordings. Every military studied the tactical data. One human warship had faced 5,000 vessels and emerged victorious without sustaining damage. One ship had systematically destroyed 743 facilities across an empire of nearly 1,000 systems. One ship had recovered over 8,000 captives and brought justice without unnecessary bloodshed. Some empires scoffed. They believed the reports were exaggerated. They thought the Valdrin were simply weak or incompetent. Those empires would learn their error eventually. Some already had. The ruins of the Krelian Dominion testified to what happened when humanity was provoked. The broken, the seen collective served as warning. The tribute-paying Zephan Empire demonstrated the wisdom of choosing peace in the halls of power across civilized space. A new calculation entered every decision. Before taking any action, leaders now asked a simple question: are there humans involved? If the answer was yes, the action was reconsidered. The risk was simply too great. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had not imposed their rule or demanded submission. They had simply made it clear that certain lines could not be crossed. Touch our people and we will come, not with rage, not with the chaos of war, but with the cold precision of justice delivered by beings who would not stop, could not be bargained with, and would accept nothing less than the return of their own silent verdict. Returned to Earth 3 weeks later. The rescued humans disembarked to tearful reunions with families who had thought them lost forever. Captain Shin filed her report with Earth Alliance Command. Another mission completed. Another message delivered. In her private quarters that night, Chin looked at the casualty list. 743 names, humans who had died far from home, alone and afraid while she searched for them. Each name was a weight she would carry forever. But 8,057 had come home alive. 8,000 lives saved, families reunited, children who would grow up free instead of in chains. She thought about the Valdrin Chancellor's question: what did humanity want? The answer was simple. They wanted to be left alone. They wanted to explore and build and grow without the threat of empires that saw other species as resources to be exploited. But when they could not be left alone, when their people were taken, they would respond, not with the overwhelming force of conquest, but with the precise application of justice. One ship was enough because one ship carried the full weight of human determination, the absolute certainty that they would never abandon their own. That was the message delivered across the galaxy. That was the legend that would grow with each retelling. Not that humanity was invincible, though they seemed to be. Not that humanity was cruel, for they had shown remarkable restraint, but that humanity was inevitable. Touch their people and they would come always. The galaxy was learning empire by empire, system by system, one warship at a time. And every empire that learned this lesson survived. Those who refused to learn simply became warnings for the others. The age of casual cruelty was ending, not because humanity imposed morality on others, but because the cost of immorality had become too high. One ship, that was all it took to change the galaxy forever. The end.